It's day 5 and I was out for a walk and I just decided, let me go ahead and see if I can make my video while I'm on my walk, but I'm gonna stop and sit so I'm not bouncing around on y'all. But while I was walking, I thought of my first car, which always makes me crack up laughing. So I thought maybe I would share a story about my first car, okay? So my first car was a VW 73 Bug, and I loved this car. Now, my dad bought me this car, and I learned to drive the car. I learned to drive the car in Riverside, California, in the Sears parking lot. And after my dad taught me how to drive the car, it was a stick shift. So that's what I was learning how to do. So he told me, yeah, now you just need to go out on the road and just practice. So I remember leaving the Sears parking lot and driving down, I think it was Lincoln Avenue in Riverside, California. Sorry, I'm outside. Those are the helicopters. So I'm driving down Lincoln Avenue and there's a stop sign. There's like 15 of them. And I kid you not, I think the first 2 I stopped at and the car just stopped. So I just decided, I felt uncomfortable. And so I just decided I wasn't going to stop if I didn't see any cars coming. And so I know I did it for like the next stop sign and the next one. And then a police officer pulled up behind me and he proceeded to follow me all the way down Lincoln Avenue or either Arlington until I got to my grandmother's house. And I know I must have ran at least 6 to 8 stop signs. And I was thinking, oh, I'm going to jail. But he didn't. He never put his lights on. He never pulled me over. But as soon as I got to my grandmother's house and I pulled into her driveway, he stopped for like 2 seconds and then he just kept going on. So I'm assuming that he knew what was happening. And see, there was the exception. Okay, favor. So anyways, so that was my first day in my VW Bug. But anyways, now my VW Bug was given to me by my dad, and I had just I was going to UCR in Riverside, California, University of California at Riverside, and I was staying in the dorms at the time. But when my dad gave me the car, it wasn't like he took the car and got it all fixed up and brought it to me with some big red bow on it. No. This car had lived, if it had been a cat, it had already lived 7 lives. And I was like, life number 8. And after me, that car was going to rest in life number 9. I always said in my Uncle Joe's backyard, because he had a lot of bugs back there that he was going to fix up. And I said that's where my car was going to rest with the rest of his family. But anyway, so that's to let you know that when I got the car, the outside of the car was, you know how you look at something and you're like, yeah, it's okay to look at. Okay, that was my Bug. It was okay to look at. But honestly, the fender was banged up. The side of the car had a big old dent in it. From looking at it, you were like, how long does it have? But the inside of the car, the engine, I took care of the engine. You remember loving things from the inside out? I loved this car from the inside out. And so that's why I still love it to this day, because I believe that car loved me back. But anyways, there was always something wrong with the car. And so one day one night we went to Club Metro. Now Club Metro, this club in Riverside. And I probably had maybe 3, 4 of my friends with me. And we had just come out of the club that night. And so we got in the car. And when we got in the car, I started driving. And all I could hear was like a loud. It was so loud. It was so loud. So I stopped the car and I was like, well, no, you guys stay in. Let me just check. So I get out of the car and I walk around to the side and I'm thinking, maybe I ran over something or I'm dragging something. So let me just check. So I get out, I go down and I look at the side of my car and I get down on my knees because I'm trying to see. It must be under the car. And literally, no joke, the back seat, the floor in the back seat of the car was dragging on the ground. And that was the sound, the metal against concrete or asphalt. And so I remember thinking, I was mortified, actually. I was just like, oh my God, how am I going to tell these people the floor in the car? But the car, I guess, apparently had significant water damage and it had rusted. And so in the back seat, I knew that there was a board back there under the mat on both sides. And I had always just left the board there, but now I know why the board was there. Okay, so listen. So my friends in the car don't know what the sound is, and I've told them it's okay, but I literally got down on my knees, pushed the board up, pushed the floor. Let me get that right. I pushed the floor up, and then I looked and I could see the board. So I was like, okay, well, they're fine. And I just remember getting back in the car and driving back to campus like nothing had happened. Like the floor literally had not fallen out from under me. And so I don't know if I think I probably, Alicia probably knows, but so that is something crazy that happened in my car. And I would like to say that if the floor, I literally pushed that floor up, got back in my car, and drove back to campus like it was nothing. And I just had a thought that, in life, sometimes the saying that the floor literally fell out, it was going to fall out from under you, things like that happen in life. And literally, you almost have to just kind of approach it like that, because it can be that crazy, okay? And just get down on your knees, push it up, get back in there, and just keep going. And so that was something I wanted to share today, because it just had me cracking up. That car, though, some of you that are listening, you remember the VW Bug, because it took us a lot of places. That car took us all the way to Tijuana, Mexico. Yes. I was in college, but I still had a lot of young and dumb in me, and I took my VW 73 Bug, not to the border of Mexico. I drove it across the border into Mexico, parked the car, and we went out that night in Tijuana. And then we expected the car to be there when we got back, and it was. And we got back in the car, and that car got us all the way back to Riverside. And as soon as we got back to campus, right when I turned the corner, it broke down. Like it was chastising me. I will bring you home, but you should have never left. But anyways, we had a tight-knit group, so we were watching out for one another. But the VW Bug holds a lot of memories for me, I'm sure for others. But everybody remembers their first car. And I honestly believe that my first car, that VW Bug, is also going to be my last car, because I want another one just like that one, except I'm gonna fix it up a little bit. And that's one last thing I'll say. Now, my dad gave me that car, and I wanted to fix it up myself. So I remember going to buy like a new fender. I bought a new whole side of the car, okay? And I called him and I said, I was getting him to talk to him about the mechanic who was gonna fix it at this body shop. And he told me, I feel like he told me that I couldn't. But I remember him telling me, no, you can't fix up the car. And I remember thinking, well, why not? I already bought the pieces. And he told me because VW Bugs were in high demand. People wanted them. And as long as my car looked like that, nobody would steal it. Yes, that was how my dad reasoned that whole situation. So maybe when he bought the car in the beginning, he wanted to buy me something nice, but he didn't want me to be taken advantage of. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, I love my VW Bug. It never left me stranded. So take care of the things in your life that take care of you. And if the floor ever falls out from under you, don't be sad. Don't be mad. Just bend down, push it up, and move on. Have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow.